Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss Resident Evil Retribution, starring Mila Jovovich, Sienna Guillory, Boris Kodjoe, and Sean Roberts, directed by Paul W.S. Anderson. Now, what I put this on for, because I've seen it before, and honestly, before I put this on for this review, I remembered absolutely nothing. And maybe it was because it was forgettable. Let's get to the show and we'll see. We pick up right where Afterlife left off, but we live it backwards, which felt very odd, but okay. We'll see where it goes from there. We get the same opening monologue as every movie where Alice, returned by Mila Jovovich, tells the audience what happens in the world and how many more fucking movies do we need that with the same fucking dialogue, but this time they're fighting for their lives. And we get the same opening but done forward. And is this movie Resident Evil for dummies? Because I'm confused as hell. Because I was confused as hell to what the fuck is happening. Alice wakes up with a husband named Todd with a daughter Becky, as it's a normal day until zombies barged into their house, and Todd makes it. But Alice and Becky made it out, or so they thought, as they run from zombies to the roof and get outside, where we see Rain, returned by Michelle Rodriguez, almost running them over, and gets them the hell out of there. And there, but in gets in a crash as they run out and are led to believe Rain is dead and run to a house where they hide in a closet, and they still have those smells like in Blade 2. But this is done much worse, as she gets eaten by her husband and wakes up in a laboratory from Umbrella Corporation, where Jill Valentine, returned by Sienna Guillory, is torturing her. And the movie is making a much let me start over. The movie is making a much no motherfucking sense. It's bullshit with the hell of a lot of noise, while Alice puts on some gear and becomes a computer, where it reboots and lasers going after Alice as she enters a world that looks a hell of a lot like Japan. And my problem is this movie is pretty much all over the place, as I don't understand what the fuck's happening or how it's happening to begin with. After being tested with some zombies in Japan, Alice gets attacked by a group of zombies and comes back to Umbrella Corporation and gets more guns and weapons, and she gets in a brief fight with Ada Wong, as Albert Wesker wants Alice to help him. And why the fuck would you trust Albert to begin with after the last film? And as I'm thinking, he's the bad guy again, and he sends a team to help Alice and Ada, and they're underneath snow. And this movie makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, as this is already a forgettable film in the franchise. Hell, how did I forget this movie years ago and before this viewing? The strike team with Luther West comes and gets both Alice and Ada, as they're led by Jill, who's being controlled by the Red Queen, which honestly feels like Alice in Wonderland. But it's actually a little girl, which feels pretty weird. While the strike team comes to Alice and Ada's rescue, and they get to New York, and how are they getting from one setting to a building to the next? I don't know, and this is bullshit. To the point I don't really care. Alice and Ada get attacked by two giant axed men. As Ada is on a bus, Alice runs from both of them, and she, with Ada, shoot a taxi cab to blow them up, which is mindless for damn sure. The strike team get to Moscow and get attacked by some Umbrella Corporation men, while Alice and Ada get to Raccoon City and sees clones of Alice as well as Becky. And this is very confusing to me, as I'm completely confused by the movie at this point, as it makes no goddamn sense. As Alice and Ada come out of the house, while a bunch of characters from the previous film, like Rain 1, returned by Colin Salmon, and Carlos, returned by Oded Feher, and Jill encounter them and shoot them and try to kill them, while the strike team are being held up, and Alice and Becky get back into the nice rain. While I'm thinking, what happened to Ada is beyond me, while Alice catches up with the strike team in a car and gets attacked by some of Umbrella's men. And as they get in a train station to get away from a giant, and which they're successful at, and get back to the train tracks. And this movie almost an hour in, starting doesn't doesn't have a brain in its head, which is weird to me because these movies always start off with a no-brainer. The nice version of Rain and Luther are killed, and Alice wants to save Becky. And do I give a shit? Hell to the motherfucking no. Because like the others, I don't care for these characters, and I'm starting to check out at this point. As this is already forgotten by me, as I'm sure I'll forget about it as the movie is feeling forgettable to me. Alice gets Becky out alive while the strike team have Ada held hostage, and the bad guys shoot the remaining strike team while Alice and Becky approach a room where they make a bunch of clones of Alice, which makes me think this is a problematic script with some bullshit answers, as they make no sense whatsoever. Alice and Becky, along with Luther, come escape in a helicopter, and I don't know how, and honestly, I don't care. Jill catches up with Alice and have a fight that makes the choreography look so telegraphed it's really bad. And at the end of it, it sounds like they're really breaking bones. And Alice is almost killed until she takes the spider machine off her chest and shoots it with Rain while Rain kills Luther off, and Alice's heart beats to the point it might kill her as Jill throws Alice the gun and puts Rain in the frozen water and will get captured by the water demons, let's call them as. Jill is back to herself and Alice faints as a helicopter comes in to help the survivors along with Becky by her side and get to Washington, D.C. as they hear attacks. And Alice gets to Albert and poisons her once again to the point she becomes a weapon again as a massive group of zombies. And we lead up to the next mission. I didn't like this climax, nor did I care. Now it's time for the rating. I'll give this movie a 1.6 out of 10. This is a problematic script that doesn't have a brain in its fucking head with some answers that make no sense whatsoever. I don't care for the characters and what happens to them or how it happens to them. What I care about is having a better movie, as the choreography was so telegraphed it looked really bad. I didn't understand what in the hell was happening, and this movie is nonsense, as this is the most forgettable of the series, and if I forgot this movie, I'll forget about it again. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me, and next time I will be back with Resident Evil, the final chapter. And until next time, game over.